Right now, as you watch this video, 3 American aircraft carriers, the USS Abraham Lincoln, the USS Gerald R. and the newly arrived USS George H.W. Bush, are operating simultaneously in the Middle East for the first time in decades. The US Navy has thrown up a full naval blockade around the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran still has missiles. Iran still has drones, and the ceasefire is fraying by the day, which means one question is sitting in everyone's mind right now, and it's the exact question we're answering today. If Iran launches a full-scale attack on the US blockade fleet right now, what actually happens? Could it actually get through? And can the US Navy defend itself? Let me give you the picture of where we are, because this isn't a hypothetical set in the future. This is happening right now. Before the attack, let's see what the US is working with right now in the region. The Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group is operating in the Arabian Sea, just south of Iran, conducting non-stop operations since January. She is a Nimitz-class nuclear carrier, carrying roughly 70 aircraft, including Fa-18 Super Hornets and F-35C stealth fighters. She is escorted by Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers. The Gerald R. America's most advanced carrier, a Ford-class supercarrier, re-entered the Red Sea after transit through the Suez Canal. She had already been deployed for nearly 300 consecutive days at sea, a post-Vietnam record. Her air wing is fully combat-ready and has been running strike missions since February 28th. Then there's the George H.W. Bush CVN-77, a Nimitz-class carrier which arrived via the Cape of Good Hope in late April 2026, deliberately avoiding the Red Sea's threat corridors. Her arrival brought the total U.S. naval presence in the Middle East to over 200 aircraft, 15,000 sailors and Marines, and roughly 16 guided missile destroyers. 1/3 of the entire deployed U.S. Navy is now oriented toward a single country. That is how seriously the U.S. military is taking this threat. So how would Iran actually do it? If Iranian commanders gave the order today for a full-scale strike on the blockade fleet, what would that look like? Remember guys, this is a hypothetical situation, so we can test the US Navy's full capacity and defense. So let's see what happens. Iran's war doctrine in the Gulf is called anti-access/area denial, or A2/AD. The idea is not to match the US ship for ship. They know they can't win that fight. Instead, the goal is to make operating in the Gulf so dangerous, so expensive, and so uncertain that the US flinches. I want this to be as realistic as possible. The attack would come in coordinated waves, and that coordination is the real danger. Before I get into the details, let me know in the comments what you think so far. Wave 1 would be the electronic and cyber opening move. Iran's IRGC electronic warfare units would attempt to jam radar systems, blind communications, and disrupt GPS navigation used by incoming aircraft and missile systems. US Cyber Command and Space Command would be working to counter this simultaneously. Wave 2 would be the drone swarm. Iran still holds thousands of Shahed series one-way attack drones, cheap, expendable, and difficult to intercept in mass. These are slow, around 180 kilometers per hour, but a swarm of 200 or 300 launched from dispersed positions along Iran's coastline creates a saturation problem. Every interceptor you fire to stop a $20,000 Shahed drone costs the US Navy roughly $1 to $2 million per shot. Iran is counting on draining the magazine. Wave 3, and this is the one naval planners lose sleep over, is the missile strike. Iran's coastal anti-ship cruise missile batteries, the Noor and Qader families, are mobile, concealed, and pre-targeted. They fly sea-skimming, some as low as 3 to 10 meters above the water, at around Mach 0.9. The Noor has a range of 120 kilometers. The upgraded Qader reaches out to 200 kilometers. The longer-range Qader 380 is claimed to reach 1,000 kilometers and can be launched from deep inland. These missiles would come in from multiple azimuths, multiple directions at the same time, mixing altitudes and flight profiles to confuse fire control systems. Then there's the Khalij Fars. This is Iran's anti-ship ballistic missile, not a cruise missile, a ballistic missile, with a range of 300 kilometers and a 450-kilogram warhead. It comes from above, on a steep trajectory, approaching at high speed, with an electro-optical seeker that can lock onto a moving ship in its terminal phase. The intercept geometry for a ballistic missile coming down from above is fundamentally different from a cruise missile coming in at sea level. That is a separate problem for the Aegis system to solve simultaneously. Wave 4, the submarine threat. Iran's Qader-class midget submarines are 29 meters long and 120 tons. They are purpose-built for the shallow waters of the Strait of Hormuz, which averages just 30 meters deep in the main shipping channels. These boats are hard to detect in acoustically noisy, shallow water full of commercial traffic. They carry Valfosh torpedoes and can lay mines without surfacing. The Fateh class, at 600 tons and equipped with underwater-launched anti-ship cruise missiles, extends that threat into deeper water. Iran also operates 3 Russian-built Kilo-class submarines, known as Tereg, Yunes, and Nuhor. Boats so quiet they've been called black holes by NATO. One of the Kilos was damaged in a US strike early in Operation Epic Fury. But you only need one to get into position. And then there are the mines. Iran laid hundreds of mines in the Strait of Hormuz during this conflict. So many that by some reports, Iran itself lost track of their exact positions. Mines are passive, patient, and indifferent to missile defense. They simply wait. Now here's what the US fleet does when this attack comes. Because the fleet is not sitting there waiting to get hit, the first line of defense starts over 1,000 miles out. E-2D Advanced Hawkeye early warning aircraft orbit at 25,000 feet. Their AN/APY-9 radar scanning up to 350 nautical miles in every direction. The moment a missile launch is detected, the entire strike group's Aegis Combat System, the integrated radar and weapons management network that links every ship together, lights up and begins tracking. Every Arleigh Burke-class destroyer carries the Aegis system. They see what each other sees. They can assign intercepts across the group automatically. Layer 2, the SM-6. At 200 to 300 miles out, the Standard Missile 6 fires. Each Arleigh Burke carries up to 96 vertical launch system cells, loaded with a mix of SM-6, SM-2, ESSM, and Tomahawks. The SM-6 has an active radar seeker, meaning it guides itself to the target independently. Multiple SM-6 can be in flight simultaneously against different targets. Layer 3. SM-2 and Evolved Sea Sparrow missiles close the gap inside 100 miles, handling anything the SM-6 missed. Layer 4. Rolling airframe missiles and the Phalanx CIWS. Phalanx is a close-in weapon system, a 20mm Gatling gun that fires 4,500 rounds per minute against anything that gets within a mile. The carrier typically carries 2 or 3 of these. CRAM replaces the gun with 11 short-range missiles and handles faster, more maneuverable threats. And the air wing itself, over 100 fighters in the region, can intercept airborne threats before they reach the ship. US Navy destroyers have already intercepted nearly 400 Houthi drones and missiles in the Red Sea between 2024 and 2026. The system works, but it has limits. The real challenge is not stopping one missile. It is stopping 40, 50, 80 simultaneously, coming from different directions, at different altitudes. While some are cruise missiles, some are ballistic missiles, and a submarine is potentially sitting underneath the formation. The technical term for this is saturation warfare, and it is Iran's entire concept of naval fighting. If Iran's full-scale strike lands, if even one significant hit damages a carrier or closes the strait for weeks, approximately 20% of the world's oil supply stops moving. The global economic shockwave would be immediate. At the same time, with 3 carriers in theater carrying over 200 combined aircraft, including FA-18 Super Hornets, F-35Cs, and EA-18G electronic warfare jets, the US retaliatory strike capability is overwhelming. EA-18G Growlers running the ALQ-249 next-generation jammer can electronically blind Iranian missile guidance mid-flight. Virginia-class attack submarines operating silently beneath the fleet carry Tomahawk Block 5 cruise missiles. The Abraham Lincoln's air wing alone could put 40-plus strike aircraft in the air within hours. The US doesn't just survive the attack, it erases what fired. But whether the strait stays open, whether the global economy holds, that depends on 96 cells and how many of them are left when morning comes. Let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. Subscribe to Shipline. I cover naval warfare, ships, Navy scenarios, and strategy at a depth you will not find anywhere else on this platform.